Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an awesome podcast by a bunch of college kids who happen to be Orthodox Christian. On today's episode, we have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Jennifer Kassir, aka Miss Beanie, and she will be talking to us about social media and her spiritual life. So, Jennifer, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to talk and hopefully you guys get inspired. So, my name is Jennifer Kassir, aka Miss Beanie, and I am from Los Angeles. I just graduated from Cal State Northridge and I majored in communication studies. And I'm a content creator. I make films on TikTok and YouTube, and I'm just trying to entertain people. That's my passion ever since I was young.
That's so awesome.
Was there anyone inspirational before you became an influencer in TikTok?
Yes, definitely. I love this question. Actually, my whole character was inspired by Miranda Sings and Mr. Bean. So I actually took qualities from them, and combined it with my own qualities. So I took my humor and theirs, and I was like, you know what? I want to create my own character and I want to resonate it with young kids. So it's more of like a younger audience and family friendly content. So yeah, I did. I was definitely inspired by many people, many online creators, and they were the top ones.
Yeah, I love Mr. Bean. Me and Lilo, the other Khalil, used to always watch Mr. Bean at each other's house. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's pretty legendary. Those two are two goats in the entertainment industry.
Oh
My
yeah.
question is a little bit less profound as Khalil's, but it's how many DMs do you get a day? Coming from somebody that's not as famous as you, like at all. So, kind of curious.
That's so funny. I probably get like thousands. I mean, in my requests, I'll just go through them, and there's two different sections in your DM. So there's a top requests and there's like all. All means it just shows whoever, and it's the recent, and top would be people with the most followers, verified people, so you can easily connect with them, and that's how I've been able to connect with great people who are also in the same industry. And yeah, I mean, I try my best to look at DMs though, because I love talking to people. But yeah, it's definitely a lot.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, have you ever met any cool celebrities that way or just like in general?
I mean, I've met other influencers. I filmed with them. So like the Hype House. So I've been to the Hype House, like with the what's it, like Dixie D'Amelio, stuff like that.
Chase Hudson.
Oh yeah, like Chase Hudson. So like I filmed with him and stuff. With like Dirty Dom, this guy who was in the vlog squad. So we made
That's crazy, bro.
I just don't know what people think of celebrity. To me, celebrity means like Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, like A-list, like those types, but I've never met those types. So I've never met like we've never met movie stars, big musicians, stuff like that. I would love to meet Selena Gomez because she's definitely a big inspiration, and I love her. And then, yeah, I like a lot of Disney stars.
I have a question for you. How does being popular affect your spiritual life? Do you feel like it affects it in a good way or a bad way?
Honestly, it's really helped. I would not have gotten this close to God if it wasn't for this industry, because I truly believe it's my destiny. I do believe ever since I was young, I just kind of knew like that's always what I gravitated towards, like entertainment. I always like putting on a show, and it's kind of what God wants me to do. He wants me to use my platform to spread positivity, to make a difference, and to impact people. And I have been impacting people. I mean, getting messages like, wow, you helped me with my depression, stuff like this. And just talking to my fans, helping them out. A lot of them go through bullying. And it's like such a blessing because a lot of people don't use their platform for good. So you do want to use your platform for good. I definitely feel closer to Jesus and closer to God because of where I am today. He's leading me on the right path. So, yeah.
To go off of that, do you ever feel because of your platform and your audience, the attention you've received so far, does that ever add a pressure onto you? Do you feel like?
Yes, definitely. Actually, that's a really great question. I've actually made a video not too long ago, and it was a trend where people say, oh, what would you rather choose? And it was like the devil or God or whatever, like just different things that I have to choose. And so I put like the devil and the cross, and I chose like the cross, and that actually got a lot of hate, believe it or not. I was really shocked. I was like, wait, what? Like I thought I was doing the right thing. I was like, wait, why are people hating on this? But and it was like a lot of people were like, oh, you're Christian? Oh wow, like God is not real. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I ignored them, you know? And I do ignore them, and I try my best when I go live streaming to tell people I'm praying for you, like just because a lot of people go through problems in their household, so I want them to feel loved, like God is speaking, you know, through me to them. And I like spreading that, but I don't like to be pushy because there are a lot of people, like if a bunch of your fans are from different religions, some of them are not religious, so there is like that middle ground. So I'm like, you want to kind of like tell people about your faith, but you can't be too in their face because that will actually be the opposite because they'll probably be further away from God. So you definitely have to be careful. It is a big responsibility when you have a platform, and everything you say plays a big role. So you have to be careful what you do.
Do you feel as if sometimes you have two different personas and two different personalities, one online versus one in private with family and friends? And how do you manage to balance that?
That's really interesting. Thank you, Michael. For me, honestly, that's something I've been thinking about daily. That's actually something I always think about. It's like, who am I? Like, who is Jennifer actually outside of social media? And to be honest, I'm still navigating that because it's not that I don't know who I am, but all I know and all I enjoy is social media and entertainment. So sometimes it gets so much. So I feel like I mean, I try my best to live not only in the social media world, but it can get to you. So sometimes I'll be in the real world with my family, but I'm still thinking about, oh, like I'm still looking at comments, I'm still like answering and just like, oh, looking at this. And the numbers get so addicting. So like it can literally affect my whole mood. Like sometimes if we're out, even at a party or whatever, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, why did my video not hit 500,000 this time? I know it sounds so like weird, but when you're used to seeing like 500,000 millions all the time, it's like a drug. It's like you're giving someone the drugs and then like taking it away. So it's always like you have to keep up and you have to always stay relevant. And then it's just like you always want, it's so competitive. It's a really stressful industry for sure. So I feel like it's really hard to kind of manage. And that's something I'm just currently working on, to get some time for myself and to really just sometimes sit down with my family, have talks, and just live in the actual real world, not live in the social media world. But I do love mixing my lives. And I've always mixed my life. I've always been online. Even before I like gained, I don't know, popularity. I don't know, it's so cringe to say that, but um yeah, like even before in high school, middle school, I always shared my life. I love sharing what I do. Like if there's something cool, I want to share that and I want people to respond to that. I like conversation. I'm an extrovert. I'm like fully extrovert. So yeah.
Outside of social media, what do you feel are like what do you like to do outside of that? Outside of Mrs. Beanie, outside of all of your platforms, just just things you enjoy doing.
That's beautiful. I mean, I love reading and educating myself, so I always am researching. I go on YouTube, I'll listen to, you know, Christian videos, motivation videos. I like watching comedy. I also am a consumer, so I love watching other people and other creators, even to get motivated. So I'll watch pranks, couples, like couple channels. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Like, hopefully I'm married one day, like, you know, stuff like that. And I really do like talking to friends sometimes, like catching up with people from high school. It's really rare though. I don't really have too many friends. It's very like, you know, I like having a small circle. And yeah, I mean,
Exercise too.
I do exercise. I started doing personal training, so I've been working
I
on my
got her into it.
She did. I'm really thankful for that, for sure. It really was a great push. It was a big motivation for that. So, and I decided that actually, if you want to do something and you feel like you can't, you need to find a solution. And I could never go to the gym by myself. So I'm like, you know what? I have to make this investment and I have to save up money. I have to make the investment for a personal trainer, or else I'm never going to go to the gym. And that's just the way I can go to the gym. So, I've been doing that too. I listen to music. Um, I like dancing in my free time, like randomly. And yeah, I like writing. So I have a diary and I love writing. And I feel like right now everything is mainly my career. So I feel like that takes up the majority of my day, not gonna lie.
What would you say is your favorite platform to use and why? And what format of videos slash pictures you like sharing the most?
Beautiful. TikTok number one, honestly, because you can literally post a video and like instantly it'll get views. It's like it gives you action. And it's just so fun. Like the inside jokes, the community, it really feels like my second family. I mean, all the followers and all these people, I literally look at them as family. So it's just so fun. It just feels great.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years with your career? What are you looking for within the next 10 years?
Okay, that's a beautiful question. First, I'd like to say that let's make it to 10 years. So like it's on God, you know? So that's what I always say because you really don't know the future. You don't know what the future holds. You know, we didn't know this pandemic was going to happen. That was out of your control. So first, I'm just going to say I'd like to make it to next year, but in the next 10 years, wow, I'll be 32. That's kind of scary. But no, it's not scary. I think it's a beautiful thing to age. I really do. I see myself married with kids. I'd like to have start a family. I'd like to have my own like my own show. So I'd like to have like for my Miss Beanie character. So I'd like to have like my own movie or show or book, either or, I don't know, something that surrounds my character, specifically targeting families and young people, so a younger audience. And I am currently working on that. I'm working on a series online for that. So, yeah, hopefully I'm just like further in life. I progress. Hopefully I'm in peace and financially stable. Like I'd like to be well off, independent. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I see. It's really hard to say like because I just can't envision 10 years. Like that's a decade. 10 years ago, I was 12 and I never thought in my life I'd be here. I could even think past 2015. Like so I hope I'm alive. I hope I'm happy if I'm looking back at this and yeah, hopefully building a family with my husband, traveling the world.
What you were saying about how you posted that TikTok about the devil or Jesus, whatever it was, it seemed like the responses you got, it reminded me honestly, like it may sound kind of funny or whatever, but it reminded me of like I guess saints that like they
Mhm.
were pressured and they got martyred, like Saint George, for example, like how he
Mhm.
was pressured by his emperor or whatever. It kind of I just want to ask you, I'm saying this, I want to ask you also, like, do you feel like obviously like God forbid anything bad happens, but like do you feel like you kind of have like pressure on you, like as in how he had pressure on him from someone that like kind of ruled his job? Do you think
Mhm.
you have pressure on you from your fans or like wanting to please them in that kind of spiritual sense?
That's really beautiful. I definitely do. Obviously not to that level like St. George, God bless them all, but I really feel like sometimes it gets hard. So it's not specifically pressure from people. It's more pressure from myself because it's like when you compare yourself and the thing is no matter what career you're in, like even if you're trying to be a doctor, you're always going to look at other people in your field and compare. It's just a normal thing. You're going to be like, "Oh, like let's say you're in medical school, right? And your friend got accepted and you're still not, you're gonna be like, oh, so in my industry, it's literally the same thing. Like I'll look at others sometimes, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. I'm happy for them, but it's like constant pressure. You want to upgrade, you want to just keep going up. It's really hard because once you get something, you want more and more and more. So sometimes I do get scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, like sometimes you do have to humble yourself and you really have to be like, I'm grateful to be where I am. So sometimes you forget and you start putting pressure on yourself because in reality, last year I didn't have any of this. I was like nothing. I started last year. So I never thought in my life I'd have over 2 million. Like it's just, and before I used to freak out over 10K, Sometimes you'll get presented an opportunity and you're like, oh my gosh, like this will get me what I want. But then you're like, "Ah, but you can't do that. It's not what
So,
God wants for you. I know in my gut feeling when something's not for me. So for me, like I'll pray on it. If I get presented an opportunity, I'll pray on it and I'm like, God, is this like gonna take me on your path? Is this like part of your will? And sometimes deep down, it's like a no. Yeah, sometimes it's really hard to balance because sometimes, and this can be for everybody, by the way. So sometimes you'll feel like oh my gosh, this may not be a good choice, but you're still like that temptation. Everybody gets tempted, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, like, will it be that bad? And sometimes you don't want to take advantage of God because you know He's forgiving and He's so loving. So you're like, oh my gosh, well, what if I did it, God, though? Like, what if I did it, but like you can save me? But then I'm like, no, like, I shouldn't do that. You have to stay disciplined. You really have to stay disciplined. And you're like, I probably shouldn't do it because it's like your parents, they tell you don't do it, and then you do it and you get, you know, consequences. So I'm like, I don't want those consequences. I'm not going to do it, even though it's going to take me where I want to go.
That's great. That's great. Keep listening to your conscience. That's
Mhm.
awesome to hear. To be honest, that's you're very strong for that.
Thank you.
I have a question, kind of, because you're talking about how it affects you. I'm curious about how it affects your sister Jaylene as well. If you guys want to comment on that.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that. So, um, wow. Well, I know we're sisters, but we're the complete opposite. She's definitely more extroverted. I think I'm more kind of behind the scenes type, behind the camera type person. I don't like putting myself out there, I don't like putting my life out there for anyone. So, it does affect me, especially living in a household with influencers, right? We have my sister, we also have my mom also kind of on the same path. And so, it's not easy living in a house with influencers. Yes, I'm thankful for them, I support them, I love them, right? I mean, as long as she's happy, that's all that matters, and I know she's happy pursuing this career, and so I think that's beautiful, and of course I support her. But you know um I wouldn't say it supports being negative. I wouldn't say it's like a negative thing, right? Again, I mean, it's her career, it's what she loves to do. But, sometimes, like for me, for instance, I kind of always have to be camera ready, especially when I don't feel like being on camera all the time. It's like, it's always like, oh, we're filming, like, be quiet. We're in this house and, maybe she'll be filming with my mom. And it's like, okay, don't say anything, we're filming. Or sometimes they want me to film. And so I'll be like, oh, I'm busy, I don't feel like it. But they're like, come on, like, please help us film. And so it's stuff like that. It's not anything bad, right? It's her career, it's what she loves to do. And I'm her sister, I support her and stuff. But, it is tough when you are not at all interested in this career. Like at all. And you have two people, right? Her and my mom, right? You have two people in the
In the
household
live
that
streams, when they ask for you in the live streams.
Oh, live streams, yeah. And so, right, people ask for me too. It's like, oh, we want to see Jaylene, we want to see your sister. So I have fans too, and I'm like, no, like, why do I have fans? Right. This is on my mom's end. She does more videos with our family, right? So, I always have to be in these videos, right? Sometimes I'm not camera ready, and it's like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Why is this going up? But for them, they're like, oh, we don't care and stuff. So it's just those personality differences, I guess, that are, the most, I wouldn't say negative, but
Yeah.
kind of, affect me and stuff. So,
And I'm definitely thankful to have her because she's helped me a lot. Like, even like doing my makeup sometimes, or just helping me, or like sometimes I'll make like 10 videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, which one's better? So I'll get her opinion.
oh yeah.
So she definitely does, yeah, support me, not just like
Right.
mentally, but like she'll physically support me. So it's
She'll
great.
drag me to some
Yeah.
events she has to go to sometimes too, like
Uh-huh.
for filming.
Yeah.
So, even though I'll kind of stay behind the scenes, right? Like I'll
Mhm.
vlog for her or
Yeah.
something, but just being out there and putting myself out there and talking to people, it doesn't come easy for everyone. It's definitely not for me. And from what I can see, is that this career is not for everyone. It really isn't. So that's kind of what I've learned. It's like, damn, this is not for everyone. It really isn't. So I guess that's all I can say on that.
What's it called? So I was on my suggestions page or whatever, and I saw like a fan page of you. I was like, bro, she has a fan page. So how does it like first of all, like when did you find out you had a fan page? And then like, hold on, let me just see something. Yeah, when did you find out you had a fan page, and like how many do you have, and like how does it feel to have a fan page? I mean, I never had a fan page. I mean, talk about that.
Oh, also, how does it
That's so
feel
funny.
like seeing fans in public too?
Oh yeah,
'Cause
that's
she's met fans in
Yeah,
public.
that's part of it too. Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's honestly all I could say is it's really a blessing because like I said, you don't want to take anything for granted because people come and go online and it's like, yeah, you could maintain it if you're smart and if that's really what you want, but right now I'm just really grateful to have this because you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know what's going to happen at TikTok. You don't know what's going to happen to social media in the next 10 years. Like, you really don't know. So for me, it's like just having one fan. I mean, in the beginning, just like having one person reach out. I remember the very beginning. I mean, I started on YouTube, honestly, like back in the days or whatever. So just having one person be like, wow, you inspire me, or I love your videos. It's so genuine. It's like, wow, I'm impacting someone. You know, like people tell me you inspired me to make videos, and now some of them, they have millions, and like they tell me I inspired them. So it's like, it's cool to actually know like that's part of your purpose on earth. It's like you're helping someone else. So I don't know. I love fan pages. They're adorable. I love my fans. I follow them back. Like I'll
Also
shout,
meeting
you
fans in
know.
person. How does
Yeah.
that feel?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I remember the first time getting recognized. I was like, what? Like how? That was in October. So we were at a pumpkin patch, and I'll never forget that.
Oh yeah.
It was near Halloween, right? We were
Yeah,
there
was it-
together with the family. We were in line waiting for this maze. Remember this
I
maze?
remember.
It was like a haunted maze. We were in line. And then there was this young girl, and I'll never forget them, honestly. Like I became friends with them after, and their mom, they're really cool. But she was like, I was online and this girl was walking, and like I was in my beanie because I was filming too. And she was like, like she freaked out. I was like, are you okay? She was like she couldn't even speak. I was like, hi, like, are you okay? So so yeah. And then she's like, oh my God, like she knows me. And then they wanted like a picture, and then she got her other like sister or cousin, and they were freaking out. And then we got pictures. I was like, this is so cute. And then we did a TikTok, and that was fun. And then I've there were several other times. Like what was another?
Yeah.
And then
When-
another
when you're
time, like
filming in Hollywood.
oh yeah, sometimes when I film in
spending different
Hollywood,
time.
it's really cute. And then another time I was alone. I wasn't with anyone at all. And I never like even put this online, but I was like at a mall, and this girl also freaked out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they're like, oh, we love your videos. And so it's really cool. It's like I don't understand it, to be honest, but yeah, because like this app that was made in China could just it could give so many people like fame. Like you could even get on there and like blow up.
I actually have a question about like your videos and stuff. Where do you see yourself like incorporating more of like your spiritual life like into your videos in like the future?
That's honestly beautiful because I actually wanted to have a book too, talking about my life and spirituality and motivation. So I've always had that in my head. Like ever since I was young, I want to have my own book that's motivating from a Christian perspective. So in terms of my videos, that's a good question. I actually don't know. I'm not gonna lie, because all I do is comedy. So I don't know how I mean, well, here's what I could say. Like you could take messages from the Bible and incorporate them. So like doing good things, like sometimes I'll make videos where I do make a motivation video. So like one time I made a video on how people can battle bullying and what to say to their bullies. And a lot of people said that like did really well. And a lot of people said, wow, you actually helped me. So that's one way you can incorporate your faith. It's like making a difference that way.
That's
Great
amazing.
question. That's a really great question.
I love where the question went. And with comedy, don't underestimate it. Satire can be very useful.
I
So
know, right?
don't
You're right.
underestimate the power of comedy. It's
You're
very
right.
used very well in certain films. So
Yeah.
That's true.
And laughter is the best medicine. It really is. So
So I think to wrap it up, a final good question we have for you is if there's any good advice you can offer other Christians or young Christians on TikTok or other social media who want to enter this career.
that's a beautiful question. One thing I have to say is make sure you're always praying. Like really truly have a relationship, and don't take God for granted. So don't go to him and say, God, I want to be famous, because that's not how it works, and that's not what God is going to do. Like he's not a genie, and he's not, if it's his will, whatever he does for you, you should be grateful, because having any follower at all is truly a blessing. Having anyone who looks up to you is such a blessing. It's beautiful, and it's like a responsibility. You feel like you're like their parent in a way. It's a really big responsibility. That's number 2. You have to realize that it is your responsibility. What you say plays a big role, and especially if you have kids looking up to you. So you have to be careful with your words and your actions, because at the end of the day you do want to be careful with your reputation. And there is like a balance, and it's really hard to balance. So you have to sit down and really think to yourself, why do I want this? Like what is the deep meaning behind it? Do I just want it for the spotlight, or do I actually want to make a difference in people's lives? Because these people, like, yes, I know sometimes we look at the numbers, but it's actually human beings. So like you're literally like playing a role in these human beings' lives. So don't take them for granted. So let's say you enter this field and you start seeing followers, don't let it get to your head, because that can disappear quick. You have to really maintain it, and you have to keep upgrading, and you always have to make sure like you're watering them, like you're watering the seed, like they're growing up with you. Like this is a career and it's a really big responsibility. So if you're not going to put in the commitment, the time, the energy, if you're not going to be willing to make sacrifices, because there's a lot of sacrifices, you're going to lose friends a lot in the process, and you're going to see who people's true intentions are. So there's going to be a lot of pain and heartbreak, and there's going to be people who use you like all the time, and you're not going to trust people very easily. So it's not an easy thing to enter. So as a Christian, make sure you're always praying, stay close to God, pray on everything before you make a decision, because it can really take you to bad places. So that's my number one advice. Pray on it daily. Another really important thing is a lot of people, they want fast success, and it doesn't have to be just with fame. They want a shortcut, and there's going to be opportunities sometimes where people will help you, get what you want, and you have to really be disciplined in your faith to say no, because at the end of the day, like no matter what you want, you can't forget God. You cannot. And sometimes it's like easy to forget. Like sometimes I'll have a long day of filming and I'll be like, oh my gosh, like all these people that I met. And sometimes like I'll literally forget to pray. Like sometimes it's like you're so invested in something, you're like, oh my gosh, like you get so invested and then you forget. And then you're like, wait a minute, like you cannot forget who got you here. Like the creator is why you have what you have. So you cannot forget that, and don't sacrifice your morals. It's a really hard one, and sometimes you may not think you are sacrificing your morals, but there are certain things where you just have to stay true to yourself. You really do at the end of the day, because God wants you to be yourself. He doesn't want you to copy others. So if you want to enter this, don't copy other people. Do what you love. Yeah.
Amazing. Seek first the kingdom of heaven, right?
Yes.
So that's beautiful that that I like how you said pray before all things. So it's important to point that out, to do your aspect of the faith.
Yes.
Do what you know, and then you continue with the other responsibilities that you have.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it's hard. You're right. Yeah.
before you wrap up, anything you want to say, or to anyone watching, or just anything you want to add on?
Yeah. So I just want to say, honestly, thank you for having me. I love having conversations with people, and I love inspiring other people. So thank you to whoever is listening, and I truly wish you the best. I pray for you guys. Whatever you're going through, everything will definitely get better. No matter what challenge, like you're going to get through it. You will at the end of the day. Another piece of advice I have for Christian creators who want to get into this field is that God's timing is a real thing. And in the beginning, when I started this, I would always look at other people's journeys. And the thing is, everyone has different journeys. So you don't want to, like, your season and someone else's season is like completely different, right? So sometimes I'd look at people and I'd be like, oh my gosh, how are they so far ahead? Like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So I'll look at people, I'm like, how did they blow up? They only have 10 videos. But you don't know the behind the scenes. What if they privated thousands of videos? Like, you don't know people's like life at all. So their timing, that's not your timing. So everything God has put in my life happened literally perfectly. Like it's perfect. His timing is perfect. So trust God and trust that if you want to enter the entertainment industry, it's on his timing. It's not on yours, because if you force it, it's not going to work. Don't rush it, because if you really want this, you will wait. It's not going to be quick, and it may be quick. It really depends on God. So yeah, that's my most important advice. Trust the timing. So yes.
Trust the process.
Yes.
Wow, that was really amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on and just talking to us about your influencer life and your spiritual life. We really appreciate it. And, speaking of God's timing, I think it's time for us to end this podcast. So thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Tune into the next one. It's going to be really good. And with that, this is Precious Vessel, and we are Khalil. Andres, Michael, Jaylene, Jennifer, and Rita.